let's say he or she met someone, and this is your friend, right? Your friend met this new person, and you've been with your person for a long time, right? And you get upset and you figure something wrong with you and you start getting jealous of your friend because your friend person, they're they decided they want to get married. So they made the move and they've been together a short amount of time to you. That's the internal struggle. That's you need to figure out what you want and what things are you putting up with in this situation because that has nothing to do with them. So your relationship, you're putting up with certain things, you're tolerating certain things. And instead of voicing them, like we mentioned yesterday about how important it is to voice your opinion and talk about things that bother you, you're letting them mess you up internally. All right. Because a lot of people will, for the sake of not being alone, they'll put up with this person and just be like, one day, one day, one day, one day, one day, one day, and someone's gonna notice your words. Okay, how long are you gonna wait around one day? I told you yesterday, that my last relationship, I was there longer than I should have, and I'm be honest, I'll be transparent. I was with them for about 8 years. 8 years, no commitment. 8 years not living together. 8 years, no vacations, no vacations, none, not one, not one. I went to Jersey, but what is Jersey? Okay, and okay, especially when I had to pay for it. So nah, so I would never go back to that, and that's why I'm sharing this because I don't want you guys to make the same mistake. I don't want y'all to sit around and feel that you have to stay there. You don't have to stay there, especially if you're not appreciated. Appreciated. I mean, what's appreciated? Appreciated. That I mean, yeah, you know. So and you're not respected, and your boundaries are crossed. You know, boundaries are a big thing. I mean, you have a boundary. You have something set for yourself and you decide no because you putting all into this individual. And that's something that internal can do. All right. Now, as far as external, okay, now we got to be clear with external because external can look almost as good as internal. Okay. No, not as good. Well, good as in a way where it's it's terrible. Okay. So the external could be just as bad as the internal. Okay. And what I mean by that is when y'all go online, because online is what you have to use for an example. When you go online and you're looking and you're like, this person has got everything. They got car. They got the lifestyle. They have the money. They can go to Chanel. They can go to Rodeo, which I heard is really overrated, but I never been, but whatever. I still want to go. I don't care. Um, and they can go to all these exotic vacations. And then here I am, I'm doing something wrong. And what do? Because they got the internal issues. But on the external, appear to be okay. You know, they're giving off the okay. But they're not okay. They're not all right. So they sabotage their life, their kids' lives if they got those, and their relationships if they got one of those. And a lot of times it's their relationship because they're with this person and they feel that if they don't give them what they're seeing on the internet, you didn't give me this proper Father's Day shout out. You didn't give me the Mother's Day shout out. You didn't do my collage of pictures. You didn't give me my gift. You didn't have me looking all shiny and pretty. You didn't have me looking like I had everything, right? So now I don't care about you. You're messing up what I'm trying to make people believe. Because that's what the person on the internet has. But the person on the internet life may not be what they appear it to be. They may have all this stuff and struggle with depression. They may have all of this stuff and the way they're getting it, like even if they're in a situation, they may have to put up with a lot of stuff, mental. It could be abusive situation. It could be a mental abusive situation. It could be neglect. It could be we're together but we not. It's just the show, you know. And you're looking at them like, yeah, they have it. No, they don't have it. They don't have it. It's called um Instagram fame. Like you'll just put up this picture to make it like you got it going on, but in reality, you're miserable. You are absolutely miserable. You don't know how these people will feel. You don't know these people personally. They doing what they supposed to do. They're giving you good content and leaving the internet. And that's the thing about eternal and external, how they can be similar, you know, because for a story. I told you I could write a thesis and a short lifetime movie on my past two relationships. The last one, all right, he had a thing where, and it was what year was this? This was like 2018. Was it 2018? No, it was 2018. 2018, and it was Father's Day, and I was like, and God has a funny way of doing things, because I'm a giver. Like if I love you and I love you a lot, I'm a giver. And so every year that we were together, like I gave. When it came up for me, nothing, 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 nothing. But I never was a tit for tat kind of girl. Like so if you didn't do for me, I know what I did for you. But I should have spoke up because it was, it wasn't about real necessarily things. It was just about, can you acknowledge me, please? Like, even on my worst days, even when I don't really have it, when I want to get you something, I did. And it's always the same thing. I don't I don't I don't get. And you always had an excuse. I don't have any money. My car notes due. Car note due every month on the same day, but we're not going there. So, I remember this particular Father's Day. That's in 2019, and money was funny. And mind you, that's why I said finances yesterday. Money can be funny when you with the wrong person because I had money, but every time it came to it, like it was like you have to pay this. Like I was preparing for a cruise, so it was like you gotta get all this money. Hey, we need the money for this cruise. You gotta put money aside. You gotta get them some the kids something to wear. You gotta have your spending money. You gotta make sure you had money for this. You gotta pay this bill. You gotta pay this. All these bills had to pay. All my bills were paid. All the spending money was there. The cruise was paid for. The airfare was paid for. But when it came down to the situation, it was like I was like, he didn't get no money. You have no money right now. Okay, no money. And so I was like, well, I ain't really got it. I can get, I got my card and then I cooked him a nice breakfast and then I think I gave him a gift. And no, it was no gift. It was no gift. It was a car and breakfast, right? But I guess God was like, there was no gas. He was like, I'm about to show you the lack of gratitude that this man has for you, okay? And the lack of empathy. Remember we talked about yesterday, being empathetic is very important. So when I when I gave him the stuff, he appeared to be happy. But then he went on to Facebook or Instagram, and Instagram said that if you didn't get this shout out and she not saying K, then your Father's Day is awful. And I remember we was at his grandmother's house. Because now we was getting to the point where I had to meet you there. I couldn't ride with you. I had to meet you there. And so, and I always had the kids. I had to meet you there. So I get there and I'm like, what's wrong with you? He was like, nothing. And then we went out the door. He was like, this is the worst fucking Father's Day I ever had. Whoa. Really? Wow. You think so? Oh. Hmm. And it was at that moment that I was like, I'm a horrible person. What can I do? How can I fix it? It was nothing that I could fix. It was literally nothing that I could do. If I couldn't pay and take him on a vacation, although I didn't get, it was never reciprocated energy. If I would have took him on a vacation, because case in point, when we went on the cruise, I had told him about this cruise because it was for my master's degree. My oldest was coming out of elementary school, and our kid was coming out of preschool. And so it was like a big thing, it was a full circle moment. And I said something year before. I said, so we're gonna get a cruise and you can get an external room and this is how much it'll be and this is how much it'll be to get here. And he was like, I'm going, I'm going, I'm going. At least it's an apartment, you know? And then he realized he doesn't have the money, so he keep telling the kids they're going, they're going, they're going, they're going. And then when it comes down to it, like we're at about March of 2019. And he's like, well, yeah, we're not going. Why didn't you tell me when stuff was due? I told you when stuff was due. I even texted and sent it to you. I texted you and sent it to you. He had no intentions. This was the thing. And he finally came out and he was like, well, why can't you just pay for us? I'm sorry. Wait, hold what? Pay $6,000. No, I'm sorry. What even $6,000? Pay about $12,000 because with my fees for my room and and I needed my balcony because I'm like that. Okay, I like things a certain kind of way. That's why I make sure I can pay for that. And the external room, we're talking close to between 10 and 12,000. And then the airfare and then y'all money. No, no, I'm not doing that. No, I'm not doing. I'm going to be gorgeous on this cruise because at that time I was slipping. I wasn't worrying about how I looked. I mean, I looked really frumpy. And that's what I mean by when people aren't internally happy with themselves, they will transfer that onto you. But on his internal look, he appeared to have it together, where he would put a picture online, where he would go away with his homeboys and stuff. And they would go to like one time they went to like Vegas and he like stood up on this water fountain and took a picture, so you think that they had it going on the whole time they're staying in motels. Whole time I'm not staying in a motel. It's just some shit I'm just not going to do. And so that's what I mean by stop fronting. Like, if all you can do is what you can do, stop trying to do what everyone is doing. You know what I mean? Keep your eye and just do better for yourself and be thankful for what you have. And that's what internal means. So when you're really doing that and your external, when you do the work, your external will reflect your internal. So you're happy with yourself, your external will show that you're confident. You don't really live by anybody else's rules. You're not worrying about what nobody else thinks, you know? So those are things that you really need to think about. All right. And also one more thing. So, I mean, not only will it change that, it'll also give you a better outlook on the correct goals that you have. You'll get a clear view of the goals that you're chasing or and the ones versus the ones that you're going to live in the moment with. And chasing would be chasing the goals of everyone else, They're destined to do this. This was their life plan, you know. This is what they were supposed, this is their purpose, you know. And you need to find your purpose so therefore you can live in the moment of it. But right now, live in the moment of what you have, because what you have isn't in vain. It is where you're supposed to be. You're supposed to figure it out so that way you can climb to the next best thing in your life. All right. So that's what I have for that. And I already talked about gratitude, you know, to shift your gratitude because you're external, you're thankful, you know. So I talked about that. Um, and I just felt like I had to share this today because it's been on my mind because I struggled with gratitude too. You know, it was a time in my life where I didn't think I was shit for a good minute and stuff. And I just was like, why don't I have that? There'd be like little stupid things now that I think about it. Why am my hand in the middle of my back and I gotta wear a track? Like, girl, be glad that you. I'm not built for head. I mean, I can be long in the middle of my back, but let's be for real. The way I'm set up, child, that hair would be in a puff, poof, bun 95% of the time because what I'm not about to do is put a straighten through that. No, mm-mm. So my hair is halfway down, and I'm cool with that. And if I want a little longer, that's what they got little extensions for. But I'm a temporary girly. I can only do temporary stuff with that because I'll get hot, I'll get agitated, it'll start to get on my nerves. So no. So you gotta do that. Also, I also struggled with because I didn't get my license till I was about 23. I didn't get my license till I was 23. And 23 or 22. Might have been 22. And I used to think that I was such a loser because I didn't drive, you know? And I just felt like I didn't really wanna be bothered with people because people do act funny when you don't have a car or a license or whatever. And I would be like, they'd be like, "You wanna go out?" No, I would stay home. And I would just blame myself, like, if I just did that this way, what is taking me? And then when I would go take the test, that's why I failed the test so many times. I couldn't do the parallel parking because I was stressed. I was so busy thinking about what everybody else thought. You know, I have to pass this. Because if I don't pass this and I go back, everyone's gonna be like, oh my gosh, she's stupid. And I kept doing it and messing up. And it wasn't until I got with my oldest kid's father. Yes, I have two baby daddies, okay, and I'll tell a story about that later. But when I got with him, JR is deceased. But he was the first person, no lie, that was like, he was like, oh, you don't drive? I said, no. He was like, we're gonna do something about that. I'm gonna help you get it. You're gonna get your license. Don't even worry about it. You'll have your license within before we be dating a year. And that was on everything. We met when I was 21. He was 20, I was 21. And I had my license by the time my 22nd birthday came around. I got it, I think, May or June. And I remember because he had got his own car. And he was like, he would let me drive it. Um, and could we go to church on Sundays and he would let me drive it and go around town or whatever just to get a feel for it. And then when I had to take the test, my homegirl took me and I used her car, but it was a smaller car because he was driving like a Park Avenue. And he was like, this will be probably too big. So Darrell's car will work good. And I passed the test. Like, I mean, you need that kind of stuff, and the right people will give it to you. But I was so hard on myself for years. Like, I didn't think anything I did was right. I thought because of that and the fact that I didn't really have any money and I couldn't really get a full-time job while going to school because when I had a full-time job, my grades were slipping. So it was like I couldn't do a lot of things people wanted to do and I just felt horrible. Like I just felt like I couldn't people didn't want to be friends with me, even though that's small stuff. Like that stuff will mess people up because driving gives you independence. And when you feel like you ain't got that independence and you gotta depend on people and the people are being funny with you, and you'll start to feel some kind of way about yourself. So I ended up getting my license, and that was it. That was all she wrote. And that was how I got my license. So even though he's not here anymore, I am always forever internally grateful that he even cared enough to get me my license and stuff. So I got a license because of him. So and yeah, that's what I'm thankful about. So I just want y'all to leave today with something. If you haven't really had a whole lot of gave a whole lot of thought, I should say, about things that you are thankful for, gratitude. Make a list about what you're thankful for, what you're grateful for, even if it's something that once hurt you. How did that situation make it better for you now? What changes did you make once you left that situation? All right. And I would love, 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 love to read them in the comments. All right. So you can share more than once. You can share 20, 30 times or whatever. But I would love to read them because you don't know whatever you went through, somebody might be going through right now. And they just feel like they're just not showing appreciation for what they already have. And they just feel like if I have this much more, then I'll finally be satisfied. So I'll see you in the next episode. And I'm so thankful for all of you that listen. All right. And if you have any questions, you want to reach out to me, I do have email now. So the email is bloom raw and restored at gmail.com. And you can send me anything that you have a question about. And I'll try to answer for you, all right? All right.